basement again, a little bit of a different setup here, a new setup, and I'll be presenting a French program. We'll be talking about the music in France a little bit, and then performing pieces from 17th century until the modern times. Enjoy. So, French music. Well, there is so much incredible music coming from that culture that it's going to be impossible, of course, to present it within 20 minutes. But I'll try to at least give you a glimpse of some French musical traditions from different times and different eras. The earliest, we go back to probably to the medieval times. Léonine and Perrotin were writing some chants, medieval chants, religious works. Then there were great composers who would write liturgical and also secular music, Josquin des Prés, Guillaume de Machaut, many others. Then we fast forward to the Baroque times. Rameau and Couperin, among the greatest Baroque composers. Romantics, Hector Berlioz, getting the 20th century. Claude Debussy and Maurice Ravel, the great Impressionist composers, and many others. That was a solo version of a piece called Meditation by Jules Massenet from his opera Thais. Massenet was a romantic composer, 19th and 20th centuries, I think. I believe he died in 1923. Well, so he lived a number of years in 20th century. But ironically, he's best remembered, I think, with the violin and piano arrangement of the piece that I just played. The next composer I'm going to present is Jean-Marie Leclair, a Baroque composer and a violinist, often called the foremost French violinist in the 18th century. He composed quite a number of violin sonatas and even wrote an opera, I think. What I'm going to play is very interesting. It's again a solo version of one of his violin sonatas, well, a movement, the first movement of one of his violin sonatas. And Leclair will be probably remembered mostly for bringing together some of the best concepts, best principles, best achievements from French and Italian schools of violin playing. See, French music of the Baroque period was oriented mostly on the concept of the dance, so gesture was very important there. And this was not accidental. Of course, we know the great fascination and love of the French monarchs with dance. Louis XIV, who called himself the Sun King, was also allegedly a great dancer. And in Italy, the dance or the again the gesture didn't play as big of a role in instrumental music. Instrumental music was developed in different places there. In Bologna and Rome and Venice had their own schools of violin playing. So because the music wasn't tied that much to the concept of the dance, the performers developed virtuosity because the instrument itself was the show, basically. So Leclair brought together these two, the concept of a dance and gesture and this beautiful phrasing and proportion, and that came from France, and the virtuosity and the flair that came from Italy. I'm going to play a movement from one of his violin sonatas. Couple of lighter pieces, non-classical pieces. Here's a piece called La Bohème by Charles Aznavour. Aznavour was a French chansonnier, one of the greatest French singers in the 20th century. He wrote close to 1,000 songs, not only for himself but for a lot of his colleagues too. In the early 21st century, in 2001, he was recognized as, believe it or not, as the artist of the century, meaning the 20th century. Or I guess the title will be Entertainer of the Century for his achievements in performance and also as an actor. He also played in a couple of dozen movies. So this is a song called La Bohème, which it's a story telling the end of the bohemian life in Montmartre, a neighborhood in Paris that had a very, very creative kind of lifestyle, because a lot of musicians and artists and poets and philosophers lived and created there. Next one, Sur le ciel de Paris, Under the Paris Sky. This is a arrangement of a beautiful song that another great French chansonnier, French singer, Edith Piaf, used to sing a lot. end of the performance, please enjoy an earlier recorded piece by Claude Debussy called Beau Soir, which means a charming evening. Thank you very much for watching the program. Hope you enjoyed both the music and the narrative. I'll be busy here preparing new programs for you. Thank you very much. This was Dr. Henrik Karapetyan from my own studio in my basement.